they have any specific questions that they would like to ask. Yes,
I have two questions for Rex. The first one is what Susan hit on about if you take contributions from Joe Blow off the street and their son or daughter or whoever gets a ticket or whatever. How often do you think you can recuse yourself and still do your job?
Good question, fair question. When I had this policy as Justice Peace before, in the 6 years I was at JP, there was only one case where a contributor came before me in a case, and I recused myself in that case. That's, you know, I can't predict the future, but based on that experience, it happened rarely.
Can I say something on that?
Sure.
Oftentimes, been around here since I came to TAG, and you know people. I'll pick on John Leonard and use him as an example. If somebody filed a civil suit against John Leonard in my court, I know John, we're personal friends. What you have to do is sit down, and I describe it as closing the door and sitting down with myself. And I have to say, if he's involved, if these two are suing each other, if it's a really close case and the facts are really close, just the fact that I know him does not mean I have to recuse myself. Okay? Or I'd be recusing myself. But I have to ask myself, and it's up to the integrity of the judge, could I be fair to her if it's a real tight case? If these two were suing each other, I couldn't, and I would recuse myself because John Leonard and I know each other to the point we've had lunch together and stuff like that, to where I'd say no. If it were a close case, I would hesitate in my mind, and I might, it would present a problem for me. Therefore, I'll recuse myself. And I do this often. Know a lot of business people and everything else, but and I think I have a very good record when I make that decision to myself. And that's all you can ask of any judge. It's what's in their mind. And I've recused myself in many cases, but if I make that decision, okay, I don't really know John Leonard. He sat down for me in church, and my wife knows his wife, and I said hello to him once, and I don't really know him, so I can be just as fair to him and her. I wouldn't recuse myself.
And I agree with much of what he said, but if ever there was a situation that would seem to require recusal, in my opinion, it's when money has exchanged hands.
I don't keep a list of the attorneys who have contributed to my campaign. And as a matter of fact, none have contributed, essentially, other than maybe one or two contributions. I've had no opponents. So since 1990, I haven't had a substantive amount of attorney contributions until this year. And he raised the issue. He went in front of all 400 people when we drew on the ballot and says, I've got something big coming out on Judge Hanson in ethics. It's big. You look for it in the media. And then he went on some radio stations, and he didn't say what it was. What he was doing, and I think this is essentially dishonest, he was waiting for the first campaign report to come out. In that campaign report, I had 3 contributions totaling $295 from attorneys. He went, aha, then he holds a press conference and says, my opponent takes money from attorneys. As he said, he used the same trick in Abilene in the mid-90s to get elected. What's he done since then? Has he gone to the legislature saying change the law? No, he pulled it out of the trunk then and used it to get elected, and he won then. He's trying to pull it out of the trunk and get elected again, and I don't think it's going to happen.
I did not have to wait until the first campaign finance report to come out, because in addition to the 3 that he mentioned, there's about, and I don't remember the exact number, about a dozen. I didn't say at this meeting that there's something about Jim Hanson that's going to come out. I did say that there was going to be a policy that I would be talking about that is a policy that is unique, I think, in this county.
You used ethics, research, big, in those words on the radio over and over. Your implication was that I had done something unethical.
I have never.
It's legal to take contributions from attorneys.
You know, it really is not a big deal taking contributions from attorneys. If you think about it, the bigger deal is supporters. If you have a supporter, an individual that gets tickets consistently in your court, and you take contributions from that person repeatedly and keep taking their tickets and dismissing them or giving them good deals, that I have an issue with. I was doing some campaigning in Slayton, and I had a woman find out I was running against Judge Doolin, and she said, oh God, I'm so glad you're running against Judge Doolin. I was a defendant in his court. I lost. He yelled at me in court because I was quoting somebody that maybe wasn't the most respectful quote, but it was a quote none the least. And then she said she found out he was playing golf with the defendant the day before. I mean, when I find stuff like that out, that disturbs me. And I heard it from a defendant. So when it comes to contributions from attorneys, attorneys can disassociate themselves from the cases. We're doing our job for someone else. It's not personal, and it never is. Okay? So getting a contribution from an attorney doesn't matter. It's the supporters that I have a problem with.
Well,
And we've heard from everyone except Jim Dillon, so we'll get.
I have a question for Jim.
Wait a minute.
How many times you ever played golf, honey?
I've never played golf. I don't play golf. In reference to recusing yourself from court, from a trial, if I was to recuse myself on every litigant that come into my courtroom, it would be probably 90% of the cases. I started my professional career here in Lubbock in 1967, and I was born in Lubbock. My family, my wife and I, and my children, we all own real estate and pay taxes in Lubbock, and we know most of the people in our precinct. I would dare to say there's not 10% of the people in my precinct that I'm not personally acquainted with. And to have to recuse myself on every case that come before the court, some other judge would surely be very, very busy because I know lots of people and a lot of people know me, so I don't think that would be an issue at all. When you go back to the supporters and you look at the supporters that's been mentioned that my opponent has a problem with, when you look at the pastors and the leaders of our community and you see who those people are, you're insinuating that those people expect a favor. Do I really look that cheap? Do I look cheap enough to where a $200 fine or a $150 fine would be accepted or reduced because of my acquaintance? Some of my strongest supporters are some of the people that pay the highest fine and the most often in my court. They know beyond any doubt whatsoever that when they come to my court, they're going to get a fair hearing, an impartial hearing, and they know that I'm going to do what is right and correct.